Have you been following the saga of Elon's baby mama as she has been spilling the tea as a MAGA insider, as a former MAGA insider? Buckle up, you're going to want to hear this. Her latest video today, she all but says it. And by it, I mean that a certain tech bro billionaire was definitely in on it. I'm going to play a little clip from her video, and I'm going to stitch it. I'm going to add the link to it in the caption if you're watching on TikTok or on YouTube. But it's long, it's 17 minutes, and this is part of a series that she's been doing for a couple of months now. The creator's name is Ashley Sinclair, and she was a MAGA influencer in the inner circle of MAGA for 10 years. And this woman has seen the light. Yes, I genuinely believe her. Yes, she is having a genuine awakening, and this has come with understanding deconstruction. She's deconstructing a lot of her beliefs. She's working on accountability and restitution. But more than this, she is spilling the tea. And we're talking the kind of insider, not just like, oh, I was paid to tweet stuff. She spent election night at Mar-a-Lago. And yeah, she is Elon Musk's baby mama, one of his many baby mamas. She heard things straight from the horse's mouth. And that's what this video alleges. Now, like I said, she has been sharing her story over a number of videos where she talks about her involvement in the MAGA sphere, her involvement in politics, as well as her awakening to all of this and her beginning to change course. She does also have a number of posts where she talks about how she even connected with Elon, how that relationship began. This post made today, it is Monday, the 18th? She made this post earlier today where she talks directly about the night of the contest. Not only that, but what Elon said to her leading up to it. According to Ashley, he said that he will introduce the glitch in the matrix. And when she asked what he meant, he was talking about, he said, the lasers on the Starlink satellites. There was a little bit more said, but she said she stopped asking questions and says, I don't want to know anything in case I am deposed, in case I am called as a witness to testify. Then she talks about being at Mar-a-Lago on election night and hearing from Elon himself when he said, we already know, we already got the results, that he has real-time data. And she questions, how is that even possible? How would that even be a thing? She wasn't buying it. She then went on to, almost tearfully, certainly with a lot of stress and anxiety, say she has seen things, she has heard things, she knows a lot, and is deeply disturbed by what she knows about what went on concerning this election. Then she had this to say. Here's a clip.
I feel immense guilt for just putting them in this situation to begin with. But I want them to have a country. I want them to have access to democracy. I want everyone to have access to the democracy that we're supposed to. And I am increasingly concerned about our lack of regulations and investigations into how technology is being used to thwart democracy. If you guys thought Cambridge Analytica was bad, okay, it is my opinion that what is happening, especially combined with the behavioral inference model of X and XAI, Twitter, that this is a million times worse than anything we saw with Cambridge Analytica. And that's my opinion. And I have these messages. I have the documents, and I've already provided them to someone who's working on a much larger project than just my testimony that hopefully will do some good with it in the coming months.
Oh my God. Not only is this explosive, if true, but what she said about providing her testimony, providing evidence, do an investigation. Now, I'm not going to speculate who or what that she's talking to that's looking into it, but this gives us hope. Because I know so many of us, we see things online. We hear people's stories. We see evidence. And we're so agitated. What's being done? Why isn't anything being done? And of course, that's how it appears to us on the outside. We're disheartened. We're frustrated. We're impatient. Totally get that. Totally understandable. But we have to understand that something of this magnitude is going to be as secretive as possible and take as long as it takes. One false move and all of this investigation could be thrown out, could be nullified. But hearing directly that there is an investigation, this person with such intimate insider knowledge is speaking to people who are looking into it. I love this. Now, Now, of course, I don't know this creator personally. I cannot vouch for her, nor am I doing so, but I thought it was worth talking about because she is the mother of one of Elon's children. That is documented, as verified. They have a DNA test, the whole works. So in that regard, her relationship is genuine, and that certainly proves credibility to her story. Now, before a single one of you come in here wanting to badmouth her about you should have known and no mercy. No, read the room. That is not what we do here. Anyone who is having a genuine awakening and is doing the work of deconstruction and restitution, you're welcome in this circle here. And we're not going to bash or bully or project all of our fears and our anger onto them. We are going to trust the process and allow space for them to awaken. We don't have to trust or hold hands or forgive. That's not what we're asking here. But we're not going to heap on while they're doing the work. So long as they're doing the work, let them cook. Either way, these claims are explosive. And what she's not saying is almost as incendiary as what she is saying. So I got my eye on this one. Love to know what you think. Hey YouTube, sorry for the jump scare. I am back home after making that video, and because Ashley St. Clair's videos are only on TikTok, I wanted to include a screen capture of her video. Now, like I said, it's 17 minutes long and she has a whole series, so if you're interested, I highly recommend checking her out. If you go to my profile on TikTok at Gia Prism, you will see this video and she's tagged in that. But for here, I have screen captured the most explosive part of this where she talks about the space lasers directly involved in the election. So without further ado, here you go.
And then October rolls around. And in October, Elon tells me that he is ready to release his, in his words, anomaly in the Matrix. And I am like, oh, like, who's that? And he says that he has 10,000 lasers in space, referring to his satellites. I say, because I am like rather uncomfortable and I know the gravity of what he's trying to tell me right now, I say, wow, finally a focus on the Jewish vote. He keeps going and he says, you know, this is not a piece that they'll see on the chessboard. And I straight up tell him, I say, I would ask more, but I really don't want to be deposed. To which he says, very wise. Shortly after that, you know, he's involved with America PAC and all of this other stuff, and he's sending me some internal data from America PAC, real-time Delta vote metrics. And I am just like, how the fuck do you have this sort of data? You don't get this from door knocking, because that was one of my first jobs in politics was in campaigns and cleaning up this bad data from door knocking, because the vendors that America PAC is using at this point is a vendor that hires Craigslist crackheads for door knocking. And I wish I was exaggerating there, but I'm not. I know, like, I have caused harm with my rhetoric. However, I never like sought out to cause harm. Like, there were parts of me that really wanted like the best for the country, for America, for democracy. And one thing is, I have always hated big tech. So then to have arguably the most powerful man in the world who is sending me things about, you know, using his space technology in the election. I should also say that I have all of this backed up with many people with explicit instructions should anything happen to me, okay? But this was something that I was internally wrestling with while publicly not really showing that I was having any of these internal ethical conflicts with myself regarding this information. And then on election night itself, Elon, you know, left Mar-a-Lago early. I was at Mar-a-Lago and he told me over text, he's like, yeah, I knew hours ago that that Trump won. My team has the best real-time data anywhere. First of all, how the fuck do you have real-time data on elections? How do you have real-time data? I could not understand that. I don't know that I ever will. I saw some shit, guys. Like, I saw some shit, and I'm fighting really hard to keep my voice because I saw shit that impacts everyone. And if I was self-interested, I have been offered the self-interested deal to shut up and not talk about anything. But what I can tell you is I've not been offered certain deals just because I know that he's weird, okay? I saw some shit. And, like, talking about this just sounds crazy. Like, I feel like I sound like a crazy person when I'm like, yeah, he told me about his space lasers and the election. Like, this is... what the fuck? The best I can do is talk about it now. Despite the immense harassment and intimidation of my family that has been going on, yeah. Anywho, there's a lot of questions